fire and emergency medical services will be unavailable until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with the current
Oh, you gotta cut that down for me for 1 second. I'm going live with Project 2025. Yeah, that TV thing. That TV thing, I gotta pause this. No, I'm gonna pause it. Hey. Thank you for joining in. What's that your name? Marilyn. Thank you for joining in. Like my page, follow my page, tune in. We talking about Project 2025, y'all. I just want to enlighten y'all on this article. Enlighten y'all on this article 2025, man. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining everybody. Yeah. Everybody tune in, man. Welcome to the State to the Late podcast, man. Tune in, lookers and crookers. Thanks for joining, Myra. You already know what's happening. You can share it. You can start sharing this live. You already know how. I'm going to show you. Yeah, we talking about Project 2025, though. I want y'all to join in. Share this live. Y'all can tap the screen 2 times. Okay, dokie. And it's 2025, Project 2025, with Donald Trump transitioning. It's a political, published in April of 2023 by the Heritage Foundation. It's a federal government of the United States and consolation executive power in favor of right-wing policies. 4, its constitution of policy documents that suggests specific changes to the federal government. A person debates for recommending vetting loyal staff in the federal government and a set of executive orders issued by the United States President to implement the policy. See, the policy, they not telling y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Y'all can tap the screen, share my live. I'm enlightening y'all on Project 2025. So you guys can share your thoughts. You can ask any questions, anything in that nature. So with Project 2025, I want to enlighten you guys, man. If ain't nobody saying that, I'm saying something right now. And it's getting way out of hand because we done voted this man in. And Diddy done told y'all way before he went to jail, not saying nothing to say that, but Diddy told us about Project 2025. So, with that said, I finna take you guys down to the policy. We're going to start with the economy. The foreign trade of the United States and the United States emergency independencies. Project 2025 provides a range of options for economic reform that varies in a degree of this is critical of the Federal Reserve, which it blames for the business cycle. So with 2025, they laying off all the worker, taking away the Social Security wages. They taking away taxes. So thanks for joining in. Wow. And I'm gonna let you guys see the stream too, so you guys can be aware of what's going on. Okay, they let me flip the screen to you guys. But I'm literally telling y'all that the Project 2025, the education and search states that is major concerns for Project 2025 what is called woke propaganda in public schools. In response, it envisages a significant reduction of the federal government role in education and evaluation of school choice. It stipulates and parents' rights. This the parents. To achieve that goal, it process closing the Department of Education and giving state control over education, funding, and policy. Programs under the Individual with Disability Act, the IDEA, would be administered instead of the Department of Health and Human Services. The National Center of Education Statistics, which is the NCES, would become a part of the Census Bureau. If y'all familiar with the Census Bureau and everything, that's the count of everybody that's around. So with that being said, the federal government, according to Project 2025, should be on a more than a statistic keeping organizations and education funded by the federal enforcement. This are civil rights in school. It's just certain things they can't do. But the 2025 project, they didn't tell y'all all these elements that was in Project 2025. They only told y'all, okay, Donald Trump, he signed the Project 2025. They didn't tell y'all that, oh, he finna stop all the funding from the education schools. He's stopping the funding from the free schools. I'm gonna read it to you. Project 2025 advocated that title of the Elementary School Education Act of 1965 be allowed to expire, removing $18 billion in federal funding for schools in low-income areas. Public funds for education should be available as schools vouchers with no strings attached. Even for parents signing their children's private over religious schools, it's a cut should be made to the funding for free school meals. The Head Start program that provides service to children and low-income families should be ended. Roger claimed that the program does not provide value, but never provided evidence for his claim. 126 in the program, it say for the project bankers, education is a private rather than public good. It's private than public good. Project 25 citizens are programs to forgive student loans. They taking the student loans. They taking everything. Thanks for joining in. Y'all can tap my screen, share my live. I'm live on Project 2025. And I'm just going on the, hold on. This the education resource. That's education resource. Tap the screen, share. I'm glad you guys joined in. They taking school choice, individual with disability. It's called the woke program. It's propaganda. So with the 2025, that's what they doing. That's in there. They got the environment, climate change that's in there. They everything federal emergency, climate change magnitude, United States withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. This wild, guys. This okay. Increase at the bottom of the yeah. And this is Project 2025, guys. I'm reading you guys. Okay, now people got lost when Donald Trump said he finna run for third term. It's called expansion of presidential power. That's what it's called. You guys was asleep. You guys was lost on that, but that's what it's called. So he really can't have a third term. So this why he laid out the Project 2025. Project 2025 seeks to place the federal government entire executive branch under the direct presidential control. That's the executive branch. That's why he signed the executive order. It eliminated the independency of the DOJ. If y'all familiar with the DOJ, it eliminates all of that. So the FBI, the Federal Communication, the Federal Trade Consumer, and other agencies. The plan is based on a controversial interpretation of executive theory. It's facts. It's facts. Thanks for joining. Share my live, tap my stream. These facts that I'm reading to you guys out of Project 2025. So, Kevin Roberts said that all federal employees should answer to the president. Since the Reagan administration, the Supreme Court has embraced a strong executive lead by conservative justice. The Federalist Society, and the Heritage Foundation, and the overturned some preceding limit. Project 2025 vision of executive power. This all is what a third term would look like with Donald Trump under it. Weaponizing us, doing all those things. So, with that being said, hold on, you guys. Thanks for getting joining in. You guys can share my live, and you definitely can tap the stream 2 or 3 times. Thanks for joining. So, now I read you that part. I'm going to jump down to where the most important part, the federal staffing. Project 2025 proposed reclassifying tens of thousands of federal civil service workers. This when they firing everybody. Civil service workers as politics appointees in the order to replace them with Trump loyalties. That means Trump loyalties is he's a dictator. You must be loyal to Donald Trump. It's like if you signed an oath, you must be loyal. Share this live. Share this live. Thank you, guys. Could y'all please share this live? Follow my podcast on State to the Lake. You can follow me on YouTube, streaming live Monday through Friday. Thank you, guys. Share my live. Give me more viewers. Let's turn it up. But that's when the dictating part come in and the federal staffing, when he's talking about he'll be a dictator. And it's in Project 25. They didn't tell all y'all this. The public didn't tell all y'all this. So, it's Donald Trump loyalty team. Now, if you're not loyal to Donald Trump, there's no way around this. Boom. Throughout his first term, Trump was accused of removing people he's considering disloyal, regardless of their ideology, convincing, such as former Attorney General William Barr. In 2020, White House presidential personnel officer employee James Bacon and John McEnany deployed a questionnaire to test potential government employees committed to his Trumpiness. You know what that word means. Beckham entry joined the Project 2025 in May of 2023. The project used a similar questionnaire to scheme potential recruiters and to Donald Trump agenda. For Trump's second term, the project and the White House counselor was based solely deeply committed to the presidential agenda. It's not our agenda, it's the president agenda. That's where, thanks for joining. Thanks for the flash goal. So it's like really Project 2025, you guys. They is literally trying to weaponize us, take everything we got, and that's why your snap and everything is not. Tap the stream twice, share my live, you guys. You can feel free to comment, ask anything you guys want to ask, but we talking about Project 2025, you guys, and the American people should know this. I feel like need to be enlightening you guys on this. So now we're going to get to the healthcare part. The healthcare and the public. This Roger Center wrote mandated healthcare. He accused Biden administration of undermining the traditional nuclear family and wants to reform the Department of Human Health Service to promote this household structure, which the household structure is Trump. Thanks for joining, Mary. Tap the stream 2 times and share my live. We talking about Project 2025. I'm on the topic of healthcare now. So, with one example gives the Biden administration reversal of the Trump era, finding that using stem cells derived from abortions, stem cells, you know what that is from the court, is unethical. This finding prevents the HHS from funding researchers use abortion delivery. This, according to Project 2025, the government should promote that Medicare Advantage programs, which consist of private insurance plan, federal health care, should be denied transgenders, people. Genders, we thank you for joining GDK, tap my stream and send it live. But we talk about Project 2025. So with that being said, Donald Trump is really up to no good, and he's fit to try to take this third term and run when he's cutting everything off. Now with the immigration reform, we already know what the immigration reform consists of. The immigration reform consists of get the immigrants out. But behind and under the curtains of this Project 2025, I'm going to read it to you. Okay, citizen in the United States. This mandate for leadership suggested that abolishing the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and replacing it with immigrant agencies such as you already know it, the ISIS, CBP, the TSA, the ICE, the USCIS, elements of the Department of Healthcare Services, the DOJ, other task force could be private. You heard what I said? Private. The administration of refugees would be certain and process fees and all type of things, right? Such as opportunity to significant others. The immigrant who wish to have their applications fast-tracked would have to pay even more money. Why they have to pay? Boom. But this is what we're trying to do. This is what dictators do. Stay on track with me, you guys. In April of 2024, in Project 2025, they arrested detainees, removed immigration violators anywhere in the United States. Stephanie Miller said there, a key immigration policy during the Trump presidency is a major figure in Project 2025. Charlie Kirk, that the operator would reveal a scale of complexity of building Panama Canal. He said it would include deputinizing a National Guard in the red states. So they putting everybody in the red states. The red states is the what states? We the blue. That's the Democrat. The red states is the Republican. Boom. So with that being said, they enforcing everything that's going to be under a Trump command. These forces would then be deployed in blue states, which is our states now, which is they in Chicago, they in D.C., they in every blue state that we won the election in. And now every blue state is done lost their income, done lost their food, done lost their school, done lost everything. So with that being said, he done deployed every National Guard to the blue state. In late 2023, Miller was reported to have considered this local police and sheriffs for the undertaking as well as the agents, the alcohol, tobacco, firearm, the drug enforcement, the DEA. These forces could then arrest illegal immigrants nationwide. Detainees would be then held in the what they call it incarceration camps near the border before deportation. Trump has also spoken around homeless people in the blue cities such as Chicago and them camps. Funding for the Mexican United States border would increase. So he taking the money. Project 2025 also encouraged that President Trump to withdraw federal disaster relief funds granted by the Federal Emergency, the FEMA. Donald Trump he said not sharing information with any law enforcement. So thanks for joining. Tap the screen 2 times. And far as with Project 2025 with the identity is the LGBT rights for the United States. That policy opened up so many different doors for that community of people. Project 2025 oppose what it calls racial gender ideology and advocates that the governor maintains a biblical, I said the word biblical-based social science reinforcement detained for marriage in the same family. To achieve this, its purpose remove protection against discrimination. So Donald Trump saying, man, fuck that. And y'all ain't discriminating. They ass gay. They gay. So he removing this under that, which is called a state-sanctioned racism. This foreign federal legislation. This is a foreign federal legislation. Federal employees who have participated in the DEI program or any entity involved critical race theory, they ass with that too. So with that being said, he weaponizing us, and Donald Trump also is saying he's not getting out of power. And that's just with the journalists. Now look at what he's saying as far as the journalist. Now I'm a journalist. Every guy that's reporting something or doing something on this internet are journalists. Tap the string. Thank you, Miss MYZ. Everybody that do something on these strings is journalists. So with that being said, we all are journalists. I need y'all to hear what he's saying. Project 2025, what the new dictator is saying, which is Donald Trump. So Project 2025 proposal reconsideration of administrations given to the journalists who are members of the White House Press Corp. Its purpose defining the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, a private non-profit corporation that provides funding for the public broadcasting service and NPR as a good policy and good politics, because it accounts for $500 million square, and what they call it is a leftism. Yeah. So it also entertains that the idea of revoking NPR situation non-commercial status, forcing them to move outside the 89-92 range of the FM dial. So we won't have FM, which could then be taken by religion programs. So who wrote the article on the federal CC, on the FCC? Thank you for joining in. Tap the String Live. And Project 2025 was appointed by Trump to lead the FCC and subsequently launch an investigation into the NPR and PBS in accordance with Project 2025. The project also proposed allowing more medical consolidation, such as the FCC rule that would allow the converting local news programs to no longer have any local channels. So he'll disconnect all the channels. So people think about what Putin will be doing, and Donald Trump already got it in Project 2025. It's just they never told us. But I saw it on The View, and them ladies on The View, they was actually talking about Project 2025 years back. And when we was telling everybody with Roe v. versus Wade, we talk about Roe v. versus Wade is in Project 2025. Everybody just thought it was talk about abortion, but it really wasn't talk about abortion. That's what all the news people pushed out to you guys and told you guys. So now with the election that's coming up, the project pushes for legislation requires social media companies to not remove mainstream politicians' positions from their platform. It also will prevent, remember they removed Donald Trump off his platform? This thing is saying none of that will cannot off their platform. It also will prevent the Federal Election Commission from contains misinformation or discrimination about election integrity. The nonprofit law institute, the BCFJ, wrote in report briefly, Project 25 threatens to amplify attacks on election officials and throw the weight on the federal government behind those doors. The institution added that the Project 2025 could impede elections. How you doing? All elections is going to impede all elections, which does not align with the presidential ideology, which would be, man, if I don't get elected, it's no election. So that's how that's going with that. The law enforcement, which what's his name? Robert Mueller, the department, he worked somewhere up in there. Robert Mueller is the man who broke this story wide open. Robert Mueller is like, how could I put it? He knew about the Russia and stuff collusion. Right here, in The View of Project 2025, the Department of Justice has become a bloated bureaucracy, which are critical and core personnel who are influential with the perpetual and racial liberty agenda and has forfeited the trust of the American people due to its role in the investigation allegedly Trump-Russia collision. It must therefore be throughout reformed and closely oversaw by the White House and the director of Bureau, which is personal according to President Trump. The DOJ reform preferred Project 2025 recommendation would contain affirmative discrimination, anti-white racism, Civil Rights Act of 1964. The plan also envisions making the FBI and the DOJ more directly accountable to the president, explain eligibility for the death penalty, linking these in with discussion of the National Guards deployed in a domestic content. Noting though, he noted this, comes at the expense of other Americans and in nearly all cases violates logic federal law. So with that being said, the national security is up for grab. Everything that Trump, nuclear weapons, is all up for grabs. It's going to become to the one world order right now. So with that, thank you. Tap the screen. Y'all guys can tap the screen, share my live, and like. So he taking us and he weaponizing us. The Project 2025 is a propaganda and adult content. Like, when people say that, you have to really know what the propaganda is. Okay, in Project 2025, the United States and propaganda in the United States, and the forerunners of Project 25, Kevin Roberts argues that the propaganda promotes sexual deviance and sexual of children and exploitation of women is not protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and should be banned. You hear what I said? It's not protected by the first constitutional rights and it should be banned. And should be banned. He recommends that the criminal prosecutor of people and companies producing propaganda, which he compares to a addicted drug previous to the Supreme Court, rules against it, attempt banning propaganda from the First Amendment grounds. So how is it possible? How is it possible, you guys? How is it possible? So with that being said, Donald Trump got a lot in this that he done signed off. The abortion and reproduction of health care. That's in Project 2025. So yeah, with that, guys, with that being said, thanks, Cantor, for joining in. But you can tap the screen a few times, share my live. And it's a draft, it's really literally like a draft executive order in 180 days playbook. This will really, they went and snatched Diddy, folks, because Diddy was going to enlighten all of us on this. So, hey, how everybody doing? Hey, how you doing, Sapphire? How you doing? So, like, thank everybody for tuning in. Tap the screen, share my live. We talk about Project 2025. Right now, I'm on draft the executive order. It's an executive order. Thanks for joining in, C-Mac. You can share my live, tap the screen 2 times. But the executive order in Project 2025 stipulates that the CRA helped draft executive order that are not public. They included invoking the insurrection. Y'all heard what insurrection was. Donald Trump said it when he told him, go march over there to the White House. I'm not moving. Go over there. So the Insurrection Act to deploy military for domestic influence and law enforcement, which the Heritage Foundation denied. If you're not familiar with the Heritage Foundation, you guys need to go get familiar with that because it has something to do with the people. So, with the Heritage Foundation, now, Russell Vall also deployed a 180-day playbook, which Project 2025, thanks for joining in. Thanks for joining in. Tap my screen, share my live. In 2025 describes as the NAD transition plan for each federal agent to be undertaken during the first 6 months of Trump's second term. At least 38 Democrats, members of Congress, called on a Project 2025 to release the playbook, which we got. We talking about the playbook right now, saying it is in the public interest to know what is planned. See, we never knew what was planned until now. Now they just released the plan to us. Now they cutting off all our link. They cutting off all our food. They cutting off health care. They taking everything away from us. This what they was telling about a long time ago in Project 2025, but ain't nobody really make no noise about it. So, boom. Back to the at least 38 Democrat members of Congress called and said that, and we wanted to know what was in the plan. In July 2024, the director of research, Michael Madcroft, said in secretly recorded interview that the order would be disturbing during the presidential transition in such a way that they would never be made public. So if it was going to never be made public, why put all this information out now? Or why hold it from the public now? So, with that being said, you know, we in the early light now. It's September 2025. I mean, almost November. So, now, the reaction and the response from that man, that alleged the DOJ, everybody, it's all bad. But you guys, thanks for joining in. I will be back with the next part. Thank you for joining in my live. Thank you guys for watching the Stay to the Late podcast. We definitely loaned in. Tap, subscribe, follow me on State to the Lake Podcast on my YouTube channel to get more details on 2025. Thanks for joining in, Katie. Thanks for joining in, DMB. So, like, that's what's going on with the Donald Trump thing. I just was reading off several topics of how they just cut the link, how they just did everything. And Project 2025, you guys, is something serious. I don't know if you guys really dived off into it, but follow my State to the Lake Podcast on YouTube. Follow me on my pages. All my pages State to the Lake, but I do all my streaming on YouTube, and sometime you guys will catch me here on TikTok. But with that being said, guys, look up Project 2025, read through it, dissect it through it, and I'm get back with you guys in the meantime. Thank you for joining the Flynn Club. Thank all y'all for subscribing and likes. Thank all you guys for tuning in and watching. Make sure you hit that button, share button, and tune back in live tonight. We'll be back with the next topic. Thanks for joining in, Pink, but you just lost me. We out.